Hello, this is Will Faerber from Art to Ride, and today we're going to continue our series on educating the rider's eye by showing you the difference between a working trot and a collected trot. Now, you cannot have a good collected trot without a good working trot. The collected trot is built out of the working trot, and the horse develops enough muscle, as you see with this one that I'm riding here, who is just beginning to develop collection. And you can clearly see the difference between when he's in working gaits as he is right here. And watch what happens as I sit to the trot and bring him up. I restrain a little bit with my seat and stretch up, and watch how the horse lifts up underneath me. Now notice here that there's no difference in the rhythm between the working trot and the collected trot. See how he elevates his forehand, but he's coming through exactly the same degree in front and back. Now remember, this is a horse that's just beginning to learn collection, so just beginning stages. So I don't expect them to hold this for very long. If this is how I would school them, even if I weren't just doing this example for you. In fact, this just happens to be an example that someone took of me schooling this horse, so it wasn't meant to be this particularly, but I saw the footage and thought this might be a good example for everyone to see. So you can see how here in the working gauge, look how clearly defined the musculature across his neck is and across his back. This horse, you can clearly see the ball rolling over the ground in front of you. You can see how the underside of his neck always stays soft. Now watch as he comes back into collection again. I bring him up and sit, and he elevates. So what I lost in forward motion, I gained in elevation, but notice that the diagonal pairs are still moving on the same plane. That is, they're swinging through to the same degree. Now they're just lifting more, and you can clearly see how his forehand elevated. This is a horse that by nature was built quite downhill, so it took quite a bit of dressage work to get him to come through the way you now see him. So let's take another look. I'm going to play the same clip a few times so that you can all study it and analyze it. So here I am going back into the working trot, and even here you can see that he speeds up a little bit too fast right here and actually gets a little bit on his forehand, then he slows down and gets back deep underneath himself. But once again, look at the engagement of the top line muscles. Now this is a horse that was also broken a little bit at the third vertebrae early on in his training, so I have to work around that a little bit in my contact. You'll notice that I'm riding in a double bridle, but notice that this curb rein is completely relaxed because I would just never need that on this horse, or at least not for this work. So notice how I sit. Once again, he elevates right up underneath me. Has a little moment there where he kind of has a little hesitant step. That's very normal bringing horses into this level of work. But once again, you can clearly see how he elevates. The pole stays the highest part there. And what I lost in forward swing, I gained in upward lift equally between the two sets of legs. In other words, I didn't suddenly have the front legs going straight out the way we see these horses doing. You know, the hind leg must always swing through to the same degree as the front leg, or you will blow out the horse's legs. That's how people bow horses' tendons and pull suspensories, because they don't have the horses truly coming through. So notice once again as he stretches in, notice how the weight, he's not really on his forehand, but he's certainly more on his forehand. He doesn't have the weight elevated on his back here, but he's clearly working over his trot, over his back here in this, and quite balanced. Now watch as I come into this sit the trot again. Watch how he comes up underneath me, and all of a sudden you can see the compression in his hind legs, how he compresses more through the back and lifts up. So he lifts me up. It feels like a big wave lifting you up and carrying you towards the shore if you've ever sat on a boogie board. It's that same feeling. And it's a very powerful feeling. So once again, watch as I let him stretch back out again. So clearly watch what happens here. You can see here he gets a little bit fast and I slow him down just a little bit, and there he's balanced right there. There's the optimal working trot for him. And you can see how much flexion there is in his hocks even here. But watch as I go back to sit and watch what happens. Watch how the hindquarters lower and he even compresses that a little more. Watch how the diagonal pairs don't change in terms of their relationship to one another. That is, the hind leg and front leg on the opposite side just continues to swing through exactly the same. So many upper level horses we see today, when we watch them doing things like extensions or half passes, we can clearly see that the hind leg is dragging behind the beat of the front leg. Once again, this is how horses are damaged. So once again, here's what collection looks like. Look at the horse elevating his forehand off the ground. And once again, remember, this is a horse that's just beginning in this work. This would continue to become even more elevated as time would go on. Now watch as I let him swing forward and out. And also how important this work is. This is exactly how you should work horses into collection, not think that they're going to stay in collection for an hour at a time. That's impossible, and what has led to so many abused dressage horses these days. You know, Doing the highest level of collection is like doing the highest level of any athletic sport. It takes a lot out of the animal or the athletic person or horse to do it. And watch as I come back into that sitting trot again, how he elevates. And also look how that back end compresses. You can see him working through his back there. Look how he maintains that flexion behind there. Have another look at this tape, and I'm not going to say much and just let you all concentrate. Here's collected trot. Watch as the horse swings forward. He gets a little fast here. Slow him down. There's his optimal working trot right there. Study the engagement of the horse's back muscles across the top of his neck. As he comes back into collection, there's no loss of rhythm or forward motion. There's just a little more lift. So I hope that helps. This is Will Faerber from Art to Ride. Hopefully you all have a better idea of what it looks like, the difference between a working trot and a collected trot. Watch one more time as he comes back up. Watch the elevation and the flexion in the hocks. It's been Will Faerber from Art to Ride. Hope that helps. It will help your horses. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.